name's Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and today we're going to be talking specifically about girdling. We're here in Walnut Creek, California, which is part of the Bay Area cities, and we're right on top of the views of downtown Walnut Creek, and check that out down there. So just up the way, I found a gopher that came out of the hole. I want to share that with you. When it comes, there's a whole bunch of rodents that can cause damage by way of girdling to your trees. Those include rabbits, rats, mice, squirrels, and the list continues. And check out this hole over here. Take a look at that. And there's holes all around here caused by, whether they're rats or field mice or moles, voles, as well as obviously as well as the gophers. And let me show you this quick recording that I caught earlier this afternoon. Check this out.
This is how it looks like. This gopher is always in my backyard.
Yeah?
Digging holes.
Yeah. Look how close they'll let you get without tripping out.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not going to attack.
Charles, come on, move away.
There we go. Check out how active these ground rodents are in this area. Check this out over here. Look at all the holes. There's a hole over here, hole, 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 and it just continues all along down this side of the berm. Another one, and it just continues. So here we are in the food forest, and behind me is one of 3 apple trees that were planted consecutively about 3 years ago. This one over here, as you can see, it looks pretty healthy, but it's by far the weakest of the 3, and we're going to find out why in just a minute. But if you take a look over here, you'll see that it went into bloom, but it didn't have the strength nor the energy to support any of the fruit. There's several examples around here with some dried flowers. If you come in over here, you'll see a couple more flowers that are right here that, again, just didn't make it. They pretty much went into bloom and then dried out. And I'll explain to you why in just a minute. But let me show you a couple of the apple trees over here to my side. This one over here is a nectarine tree, loaded with fruit. There's probably close to 100 fruit on this tree. And then here we are. Here's one of the apple trees, and you can take a look. The vigor of this is several times better than that first apple tree we just saw. Here's some fruit, and this tree is probably supporting about a half a dozen fruit. And then behind me is a tree that's even more vigorous, and check out these fruit. Take a look. These clusters of 3, another cluster of 5, another cluster of 5. Some of these will have to be thinned out so it's not too much weight on any particular branch with apples. But you can see the difference in regards to the vigor between just 3 trees that are all planted at the same time, again, about 3 years ago. Let's get back to where we started. When I came and I visited this apple tree, it's one of about 100 fruit trees that's here in the garden. I immediately knew something was wrong, and it was very easy to identify the issue. Just take a look here at the base and see what's happened to this tree. If you take a look, all of the bark along the side has been gnawed on, and it's been in this condition for at least a year, because since then there's some beetles that are also working their way into it. I'll go here with this piece of grass here, and you can see that there's some beetles that have worked their way right into the heart of the tree. And this here is the wood supporting structure, and the bark and the cambium tissues that otherwise surround the wooden structure has since been gnawed on. It's missing. Fortunately, it's only got one side of the tree, and it hasn't worked its way all the way around. And that's the reason the tree is still presenting, in a life-giving manner. It's got leaves, and it's blooming, and it's performing, but very weakly. It's hanging on there with the life-flowing saps that are behind it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use the Ivory Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard. This is an organic formula for protecting those wounded areas. And additionally, it's got these 7 oils in it. And the most important one is the first one. It's got castor oil in it, which these rodents hate. So it's going to have castor oil, cinnamon oil, clove oil is another one that also deters rodents. Cedarwood, garlic, peppermint, and rosemary oil. So the combination of these oils will help, as the label reads here, protection against damaging sunburn and insects and rodents. So it'll actually coat and preserve the wood as the tree continues to heal. And if you come a little closer, and actually you can see the ant it just came out of that tunnel. And there's some more ants that are going here. It's going like within the tree as well. But you can see that the cambium tissues are over here. This is the living wood, and that's going to eventually expand and grow over all of this wood supporting structure that doesn't have any life tissues on the outside. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove all of this dead wood. And you can take a look here. Take a look here. There's some more holes, more beetle holes or termites that are working the way into it. But the first thing you're going to want to do is like clean and remove as much of the dead wood as you can. And in regards to what may have been the culprit, if you just take a couple of feet behind you, let me just finish cleaning all of this dead wood. I'm going to clean that all back. And now in regards to culprit, check out just behind you. Let's take a couple of steps back. And let me show you what I found right there on the rim. Check this out over here. Right there, look at this. And this is one of about a dozen holes surrounding the tree. And this here, most likely than not, is a gopher hole right there. So when you open your can, you'll notice in here you've got this powder that comes in the bag. That's your organic powder. It comes in colors brown, green, as well as white. And then it also comes with this oil vial over here, which is bubble wrap, shrink wrap. We'll just take that off like so. And this oil vial has those 7 oils that we just discussed. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to take the powder and add it to the can like so. We'll add the entire contents. And then I like to add some water to it about halfway. Start mixing it. And then adding the oils. And here we go. And then we'll just continue filling the can up with water. And then we can mix all of that together. And now we've got this paint formula, which should have the consistency of a 50% like latex white paint. And this is ready to now apply. Coming a little closer. Unprotected, the beetles and termites will eventually hollow out this entire central wood. So it's important to, one, we're going to smother and drown the product within these holes, and then we're going to then create a coat and then maybe revisit the plant within the next week or two to see if there's any new activity in regards to beetles and termites, and continue to reseal them. But this here will protect the tree from any outside invaders while hopefully smothering those that are within the tree. There we go. So we've just coated all of the girdled areas, and by coating the bottom 1 to 2 feet, we've now protected it from any of the potential rodents that may be in the area. But now we're just going to continue going higher to now protect it against any sunburn and sun scald issues. The most southern and southern western exposed areas are typically most prone to sunburn. So we're going to coat it all the way up the trunk to the lowest branches. And that'll help create a much cooler tree so the plant can focus more so on growth and getting established and trying to repair damaged tissues caused by sunburn. So now by coating the tree, we've definitely extended its life. We've given it another chance at life. We've rejuvenated its life. It's just off to a much better start. And again, by coating it now with the Ivory Organics, it's going to basically create a barrier from any outside pests, outside termites and beetles from entering. And again, like I said earlier, we're going to now monitor the bark to make sure if anything comes out of it, we're going to continue to apply some more product to create that seal, so the plant will have a chance to grow over and create its own bark and its own living tissues to naturally repel and prevent any more damage to the side of the tree. There's another tree I found in this garden that I want to share with you before I give you a quick tour of a lot of my favorite fruit trees that are here in this fruit garden. Let's continue. So here we are at a nectarine tree, and I see that it's severely suffering. The owners here put up all of these stakes to support these branches that are down on the ground, but I'm going to bring you a little closer so you can see in fact what's happening here. So come and step up here, and if you come around this way over here, you'll take a look, and this branch in the back has completely broken apart right there. Check this out. And for whatever reason, the owners were trying to preserve the branch, thinking it was of some value. But if you take a look here, there's no fruit on it at all. Like it attempted over here to maybe these are actually dried leaves. You know, more dried leaves, dried branches. It's just got a lot of dead on it. It does have some life on it, but it's not justified in keeping it when there's a beautiful structure up above me, and a lot of the resources from the roots and the tree trunk and even the sugars that are being produced by those leaves are going to support this broken branch, which will always, even if it does end up supporting fruit in the future, it'll always be inferior to these other branches that are around it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to prune this damaged branch out. We're going to remove these structures. You can see they actually spent some time trying to support this thing. But this is of no value with the system that they've got. The goal is to create a structure that's going to be strong. If it's got too much fruit, thin it. Thin it to the point that those fruit will not break the branches. You don't want the tree, and some fruit trees will produce so much fruit it'll actually break itself to support all of those fruit. And that'll cost you in the years to come. So manage the volume of fruit per tree by thinning out any excess fruit. But the first thing we're going to do is remove this structure, and then we're going to prune this branch. I want to show you how we're going to remove it in just a moment. Here we go. So I'm coming here with my saw. When pruning a branch, you want to come as close as you can to the tree trunk. So as the tree trunk continues to expand, it's going to heal over that pruned branch. So we're coming in as close as we can, like so. And you can see as we pruned the branch, we did a good job all around it, but over here, I could have been a little more careful and sawed from the back end. But again, I didn't have much room to really do it, but I've damaged a little bit more, about a 1/4 inch more wood than otherwise would. But keep in mind that this is now all exposed wood over here, not protected by bark like all around it. So this would be a perfect entryway again for beetles and termites and any other wood-boring insects to get into the heart of the tree. This is an opportunity to now coat it with the Ivory Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard. And now we'll just coat that surface to protect it while it eventually heals over that area. The other important factor is there's a lot of suckers that are coming from underneath the tree. In regards to the graft is most likely just a couple of inches off the ground. So this here is also a sucker that's off to my left, and then all of these younger little suckers as well. So what we're gonna do is just go with our pruners. We're gonna go as low as we can in the ground and just start pruning all of those suckers out. Because again, these are resources going into the sucker wood instead of going into the scion, which is the selected flavor of the tree and supporting the tree structure. So we're gonna get all of these suckers out as well. So we just pruned all of these branches that were down here at the base. You can see how much we've actually cut off the side of the plant. We've cut at least 1.5 inches thick in diameter suckers that were beneath it. And just to prove that it was a sucker and not part of the tree, and again, this was coming off the rootstock, not the desired scion grafted wood, you can actually prove it right here. It's actually even fruiting. And you can take a look here. We've got these teeny tiny inferior fruit of what appears to be either in the peach family, maybe almond family. More likely than not, it looks like it was grafted on some type of peach rootstock. And compare this fruit to these fruit. definitely different fruit. Similar leaves, the peaches and the nectarines have very similar leaf structure. So you can see it's definitely a different fruit that has been created by the rootstock. So it's an inferior fruit, but we won't know unless we tasted it. But again, we have to remove it to make sure that we're supporting the tree and making sure the resources are going into the tree structure, not into the suckers that are depleting and taking away from the quality of the fruit if you allow those suckers to continue to exist. So we've just removed those side suckers. We're now going to seal those wounds as well with the Ivory Organic. So let me get my brush. Now here we are with the product. We're just going to seal those wounds as well. And then we're going to continue coating the whole lower part of the tree to prevent any girdling, as we saw in that apple tree just earlier today. Another observation as we're coming around the tree, this owner has, I don't want to say clearly neglected this tree because I know they're going to end up watching this video, but this stake over here, the stake was originally here when the tree was planted. The tie is the original tie that came from the nursery growers to help support the tree against the stake when it was just a young sapling of a tree. But this stake is doing nothing for the tree. It is not adding additional structure, and if anything, it's constricting and impeding its growth by having these tight ties, preventing the natural flow of the waters and sugars up the tree. So we're going to immediately take that off as well, and we're going to remove this stake as well. As this tree is strong enough, you can see that the tape even got kind of grafted into the tree and in between the branches. I was able to get that out, and now the plant can stand on its own. It's strong enough, and that stake should not have been on it as long as it has. And even with that plastic tie, I usually immediately take it off upon installation and then tie something loose enough for it to continue to grow and expand with the looser tie, and just something that will allow it to sway in the wind maybe a couple of inches, but not completely constricting the flow of juices. The next thing I'm going to do, and even though here we are now at the end of May, I'm going to continue pruning all of these dead branches out. When it comes to dead branches, there is no right and wrong time of the year. You always take off dead branches if you spot them, as again, these are entryways for more pests into the tree. And secondly, it's also drawing from resources out of the tree as well. As you take a look over here, you can see that this is a dead branch, but it's leading to a very weak branch. Over here, there's some growth that is trying to come off of this very weak wood when we can just remove the entire structure like so. And here we go. And you can see that it's otherwise a very weak and a branch that's not really providing much resources to the rest of the tree structure. And we can continue pruning like so. Where over 50% of the wood in here is dead. So we're gonna go and try to follow the life back to over here. I see like one of the best branches, even though there's a little bit of life over there. We're gonna cut back about 1/4 inch to that zone. And you can see that branch is now coming down and supporting this branch, and this will be the future of what will support next year's fruit. It's already looking a lot better. I'm hoping you guys can see that too. So I'm going to finish coating. I'm just about done coating the lower tree trunk as well as the lower branches. Let me give you a quick tour of some of the other beautiful fruit trees that are here in the garden. Check this out. Follow me. Behind me, there's a group of about 3 pomegranates of the wonderful variety, which is one of the most common varieties you'll find here in California. But check out all of these blossoms. Let me see if I can find you some fruit as well within this tree. So check this out. As you come in a little closer, you'll see here what's going to become the pomegranate fruit. This here might look like, resemble the end of what's going to be the pomegranate fruit. Over here are some more blossoms. Check this all out. And then the bees. There's bees everywhere. Be careful. Come here. Behind me is a grapevine. It could be better trellis, but check out all of these fruit. Check them out. All hidden underneath these leaves. And it just continues on and on. More fruit. And it just goes on and on and on. Check out these plums. Look at these clusters of fruit. And they're just starting to get some color. If you're looking a little deeper into the tree, you can see they're starting to change colors as well. Delicious plums. And over here, we have an Asian pear. Check out the fruit on this tree. Look at all of those fruit. The Asian pear. Another delicious addition to the garden. And then over here we've got a couple of fig trees. Let me jump down here so you can see the fruit. Take a look. Look at these figs. Just a few more weeks away from ripening. This here looks like it's either going to be a brown or a black variety of fig. We're going a little deeper. This one here seems to be a green variety of fig. And you can see this here is the initial breba crop, which is right here, indicated by these large figs. And then this is going to be the main crop of figs, which are producing, you can see, 1 fig per leaf, and in this instance over here there's even 2 figs per leaf. So it would be a good idea to take the smaller one out, so all of the resources of this leaf will go into supporting this 1 fig. And here's another example with the 2 figs. It's got a lot of energy, it looks like, so we're going to thin that down to just 1. And then over here we've got this caged area to grow all of their crops bird-free and pest-free. We're going to check that out in just a minute. But before we enter, look what they've got growing on the outside. They've got all of these berries. I believe these are the blackberries that they're growing, even though they look like raspberries. They're going to turn black in the next few weeks. I saw some on the kitchen table earlier today. Look at the artichokes as well. And let's go inside now. So what I wanted to share with you in here are these, again, look at the berries that are over here. You can see this one here is starting to turn black. Check out the fruit. And then what this owner over here likes the best is this plant over here. I'm hoping I can find the label, but if I remember right, it's called the shortcake or a berry shortcake or something. But this here is a thornless variety. Look, I'm running my hands right through the plant. I'm not bleeding compared to this plant over here. Look at those spikes on there. It's deadly. So this one here is their thornless varieties, and look at all the berries that are in here. I believe it's called shortcake. Maybe one of you guys can write the comment. And I know this was grown by Monrovia, was the one that actually distributes these plants to the nurseries throughout California. But check out these beautiful fruit, and the owner really appreciates the fact that it's a thornless variety. So as you can see here, they've got some strawberries growing. Again, pest-free underneath this caged garden area. And they've also got their tomato plants here behind me. They've got peppers all around. They've got squash all around. A lot of their herbs and so on and so forth, all behind me. So here we are at the base and the entryway of the food forest that is behind me, in the beautiful and highly fragrant rose garden. If you've enjoyed this educational moment by Ivory Organics, be sure to like it, and most importantly, by subscribing below, you'll be connected to this and all the other educational gardening videos. Thanks again for watching. Happy gardening.